Welcome to the France 24 Observers, the show that's based on our network of ordinary people who are our eyes and ears around the world. We begin today with the Islamist rebels known as ISIS, a group that is so extreme they've been disowned by Al-Qaeda. After taking over much of northern Syria, they've pushed deep into Iraq with little resistance from the Iraqi army. So far, the only fighters capable of taking them on have been the Kurds. Desperate to defend their own territory, the Kurds have sent in a special weapon. They're women. Our observer has been with them at the front.
I went to Siri Kania on the front line at the Syrian border to find out what was really going on. I was afraid because we were less than 1 kilometre from the Islamist fighters. The female fighters I met there were trying to keep the morale up by singing songs during training exercises and while they were on sentry duty overnight. They sang when they changed watch at midnight and at 4 o'clock in the morning. The Islamists want women to stay home. They don't respect their right to work, they don't consider them to be human beings, and they want them to wear the burqa. Many of the Kurdish women are educated, some of them have been to university, and they don't want to see themselves thrown 1400 years back into the past, forced to live the way women lived in the early days of Islam. That's why they're fighting the Islamists. Of course, I'm proud when I see these women and girls taking out weapons. It's probably unique in all of the Middle East. Unfortunately, I had bad news from the Women's Brigade after my visit. The Islamists ambushed the women I had met. 2 of them were killed, one named Biru Alat, who I talked to a lot, and another named Biritan, the young woman who did most of the singing.
Now to the Democratic Republic of Congo, the city of Kolwezi in the south. Kolwezi has always been a mining town. It was set up by the Belgians in the 1930s. Now, however, the mines have come to the city itself. Here is our observer, Valérie.
The story began with someone who was digging a septic tank on his property. When they'd gotten about 5 or 6 meters down, he noticed that the stones he was digging up weren't ordinary stones, but nuggets of cobalt. When he realized what it was, he went back inside his house and started digging a shaft in his own bedroom, where his neighbors wouldn't see what was going on. But the news got out, and when people heard about it on TV, the whole neighborhood realized they were sitting on cobalt deposits that could be worth a fortune. The value of the deposits depends on the concentration of cobalt in the ore. 1 ton of cobalt ore can be worth between $1,000 and $5,000 US. At first, people start digging on their own property, but when they realized that the government wasn't doing anything to stop them, they figured out that what they were doing was perfectly legal. I went to the neighborhood on Friday, and I couldn't believe what I saw. There were holes everywhere, on the roads, in people's gardens. Some of them are 10 or 15 meters deep. People have sacrificed their own land in the hope of finding cobalt. The neighborhood's a mess. Personally, I'm afraid of flooding. Kolwezi is built on soil that is very sandy. I'm afraid that with all the holes they've dug, they could be putting the whole city at risk, not just their own neighborhood.
And now for some other reports and images sent in by our observers. This video was filmed by a young resident of Washington, D.C. as he was coming home on August 6th. The big men in suits are security agents for Joseph Kabila, president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, who was in town for Barack Obama's US-Africa summit. The man on the ground had been protesting against Kabila outside his hotel. Our observers saw the agents cross the street and beat the man violently, although he posed no apparent threat to the Congolese delegation. Local police intervened, and the US State Department says it wants to see the agents prosecuted. Now to Iran and a public information campaign from the volunteer militia known as the Basij. Taking the form of a comic strip, the series tries to warn young people of the dangers of corrupt Western influences like TV and movies, smoking, drinking, and non-Islamic clothing. In one sequence, a young woman goes to a nightclub with some hip young Iranians drinking cocktails and ends up being raped. Finally today, what to do if you find yourself short-staffed. The owner of this cigarette stand in Tokyo has trained his dog to greet customers. No word on how the dog feels about the job. It's a Shiba Inu, one of the most ancient breeds in the world, bred for more than 2,000 years to hunt small game, and now apparently to sell cigarettes. That's it for this week. As always, you can find more reports from our observers on our website, on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and on our apps for mobiles. See you next time.